Hi, welcome to the coaching game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is Reverend James C. Parker. Hi, Reverend James. How you doing? Oh, Reverend James, is that too informal? Tell me what you
That's
want me to call you. I'll call you anything.
call me James, call me Rev. It's fine.
Okay. He answers to anything, and I'll tell you why. He's got a bunch of stuff under his experience load here. Right now, he has been for 20 years a senior minister at Unity Chicago in Illinois, of course. And for 6 years, he's been the CEO of church management. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah,
Who knew?
kind of. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
who
works.
knew? But what he's done and what's so fascinating with what Reverend Parker's done is that he has taken entrepreneurial experience from many different kinds of places, including hospitality and all kinds of places, and put it together with spirituality. And it's like, what? How'd that happen? So, lovely, he has shared it in a lovely book called The Wealth Spark. And kind of tells us how to do it. So I guess I'm not even sure. I have so many questions for you. Welcome, of course, but
Thank you.
how on earth did you come up with combining spirituality and wealth? They both
Yeah.
seem a bit incongruent based on what I was taught as a young girl. So what happened? What inspired you to do this?
It's that's a great question. I went into business many years ago after my father passed away, and was doing pretty good in business, but was not fulfilled. Just felt a void. Something was missing in my life, and I went on this quest. I didn't know that's what it would have been called then, but just started looking and searching for something more, and stumbled into a study group of people just sitting around, talking, sharing, kind of getting into their own spirituality, and someone said, "God is within you." And I was like, oh my God, what is that? And so it took me on an even deeper quest. And later I just, I felt this calling into ministry and decided to pursue it. And while in seminary, things went really well, but I started to see signs that, there was this misconception about wealth itself. I had experienced it in the business field, and so I really wanted to know more about holistic wealth, how to make, the definition of wealth in society. How does that mesh with, prosperity and spirituality, the wealth and spirituality, and so it showed up as a form of holistic wealth where it's not just about financial gain, but about enriching every aspect of your life, not just your finances, but your personal relationships, your growth, your sustained success, all of these other things that are so important in our lives, peace of mind and whatnot. And so all of these things are wealth. If we look at it properly, I am like you. I thought wealth meant one thing,
Mhm.
and since discovered that wealth is all encompassing. How we can have wealth in health, we can have wealth in relationships, we can have wealth, of course, in finances, and we can have wealth in family, and those things are very important.
Yeah, well, your book is so full of all kinds of great things, but there was one quote I wrote down that it was it was mind blowing to me, and it said, and it's by anonymous, which is good because I can never remember who my quote who they're from, but the real measure of wealth is how much you will be worth if you lost all your money. And it was like, wow, that's
Mm.
a cool, what a great thing. And then another quote that you had in there is you make a living by what we get and you make a life by what we give. And it was like,
Yes.
okay, this is mind blowing. And this is not the wealth that I was usually talking about.
Sure.
So, yes. And so obviously it do you find that one, I don't want to say butts heads with, but makes it more difficult? Is it hard to combine these two, or is it well, it's natural after you read your book, but I mean on a regular basis, if we haven't read your book.
Yeah. Well, I would say yes. If you have no real knowledge of how powerful, how empowered you are already, if you don't know anything about the law of attraction, or you've never experienced, the cycle of life, knowing that, kind of what goes around comes around, or our thoughts create our reality, and all these, different sayings that are out here right now. But there is something intrinsic about us where we are natural creators. We create, and we make things happen. But from the programming or societal norms, we're led to believe that it's all driven by, education, hard work, and, just getting out there, making the best of it. And if you're lucky, you'll make it into the 1%. And if you're not, you'll stay in the working class and just kind of retire after many years. And those are total misconceptions. There's just no way that, as beings, as we are, as human beings, and spiritual beings as well, that we can't have happiness and fulfillment and purpose in life, in all aspects of our lives. And then it really happens when you let go of all the expectations, that have been thrown upon you, and then get into what is it that makes me happy? What drives me? What makes my heart sing? And if you can find that place, you've already reached a wealth that, 99% of others haven't.
And money is just, that would be nice on the top, but you don't need it. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I like that. I like
Definitely
that.
nice. I am all for money, but yeah.
Yes, we all are. Absolutely. It seems that you have this book, it has instructions, it has questions to challenge yourself. It had the marvelous quotes. I could go on all day about them. Um and it's divided into like four sections. Do you remember what the four sections are? It's your
I
book,
am,
but I
yes.
if you don't, I have them, yes. What are the four sections?
So the four sections are a wealth mindset, the versus a scarcity mindset. Of course, it's the habits of successful people. Just kind of a drilling down on what makes, what are successful people doing in order to bring forth the success. I talk about affirmations and visualizations,
Mhm.
and then I get into the most important, which is, taking action. Really putting it to work, feet to your faith kind of things, walking your talk.
Yeah, I think the last segment is kind of like putting it all together now. I've given you all these, let's get it all together. But you spent a lot of time creating that mindset, which I think is probably essential because if you don't have it, what you going to do? So
Mhm.
in that, what comes, what is the foundation of that idea? I know you said my abundance versus scarcity, but what is the foundation?
Sure. So the foundation of a wealth mindset is really, um, just transforming or changing, the way you always had to think, or always thought you were supposed to be, into who you truly are. We get stuck in these limiting beliefs, and negative self-talk. We talk to ourselves more than anyone, and many times we're talking negatively to ourselves. We're critiquing ourselves. We're finding fault in ourselves. And these things really, they not only bring a low vibration, but they also attract negativity to us as well. So it's really hard for us to get into the flow of our good, or our prosperity, or, what we truly desire, if we're not, if we're stuck in a scarcity mindset. So when it comes to a wealth mindset, we really want to, start having a positive outlook. Always allow ourselves to keep learning, visualize ourselves having a bright future, the future that we want, and continuously affirming our truth. That we are empowered, that we do have, gifts, that we are special, and that we have an opportunity to be great if we just step into it.
Yeah, a quote comes to mind, and everybody's claimed this one, but if you think you are, or if you think you aren't, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So
Yes, I love
and
that. Yeah.
you'll see it somewhere, I'm sure.
You'll
But
see it somewhere. You'll see it in
yeah.
my book. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. But you have advanced quotes. They're really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, affirmations is a really good part, and you have a way that people can download some affirm. Well, I did it. How did
Yes.
I do that? How do you download those affirmations?
Yeah, so you can go to my website and at thewellsparkbook.com, and I we're giving away 50 free affirmations, and these affirmations are really about, transforming your mindset, your ideas, your thoughts, getting the muck out of your subconscious and filling it with positive vibrations and good energy.
Yeah, yeah. And where do the affirmations fall in the four categories of the book? Or maybe it's everywhere. Is it is it everywhere? Okay. Because
Yeah.
I'm going, is it a habit or is it a self-mind creation?
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Everywhere. So
because
just
because affirmations are so important. I mean, it's we're absolutely reprogramming our subconscious mind. We uh, as I said, we talk so negatively about ourselves and critique ourselves so much that we really need to reverse that. And affirmations is the key. It reverses that negative energy or that those devices we've been putting on ourselves and really brings us into a new air, a new vibration of goodness. And so we need that in our mindset, we need that in our habits, we need that in our actions. So it's kind of everywhere. This, we really just have to begin to think and speak positively, first of all, about ourselves before we can ever do it about others.
okay. Well, and you mentioned habits. What are some habits that we could get into? I there's one that I really love, but I'll let you say it maybe, or if you don't, I will. So,
Oh,
what are some of the habits that enforce these affirmations, help create the healthy mindset? Yeah.
yeah, there's yeah, like you said, there's a bunch. I recommend some in the book, and there's many more. I always talk about consistency. That's a huge habit. Continuous learning is a big habit we've got to get into. We have these brains, and if we don't, the old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so we have to continuously grow and allow ourselves to transform. Now, I use vision boards. I use mirror work.
Mhm.
I talk about persistence. I talk about time management. That's a big one. Especially for us in this world, because if we place things in a time frame to get done, we're more engaged in it, and we allow ourselves to get to it more, even better. Celebrating wins is a big one.
Mm,
We've got to celebrate them, the small ones, the little things. And,
yeah.
and a big one for me is gratitude, simply because gratitude is an energy. And as we put out, our gratefulness, a heart full of gratefulness, good things return to us.
Right. Yeah, I have a folder called wins, and every time something's cool, I'll just print it out and throw it in the folder. And it's like
Yeah,
on those days
nice.
when you're not so hot, it's like, oh, let me check out and see what's going on.
I like that idea.
Yeah, yeah, they're there, and you. So, you mentioned mirror work. What is that? Well, I think we all know vision boards, but what is mirror work?
Mirror work, that's a beautiful thing. You stand in front of a mirror and you speak positive thoughts to yourself. It just allowing yourself to see the person that you are speaking to, and it's such a great confidence builder. It just really kind of lifts you up. It brings you into a whole different frequency, and so it's a good thing. I when I was in seminary, I was unable to speak and pray in public. I could do everything else, but I'm in seminary and I can't speak. And so I got into mirror work. I started speaking in the mirror for hours a day, just kind of looking, at myself, seeing, the light in me, speaking my truth. And I was able to then, with other measures, but I was able to then begin to speak in public, and it was a total transcendence for me because I just thought I'd never speak to a crowd. Yeah.
Mhm. And that's so funny because when I used to go, "Oh, I could never speak in public." And here I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I did the same thing, and I just practiced in front of a mirror over and over.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh god, I'm so bored of what I'm saying. Just go say
I
it,"
know, I know.
So it sort of moves you along. One thing that I loved about the habits was self-care. It's like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah.
wow, self-care? That's a habit that I can have? Yay."
Sure. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's such an important habit. You know, we work, we grind, we put in a lot of effort to try to take care of our homes, our families, and just to sustain our lives, and yet we spend very little time, taking care of our minds and our bodies and our environment and the things that are truly necessary. There's quite often there's no work-life balance that we're dealing with, and so self-care becomes very important, and it's a boundary that we all must create in our lives.
Yeah, and it's funny, I always think, "Oh, I've got this down," and it's like, "Nope." I'll
That's
catch
right.
myself after the fact, and go, you
I
could
am
have
with
done
you.
better.
Yes.
You could have done a little better on that one." But yeah, so vigilance is good on in that case.
Yeah.
The other section is taking action. How would we know when we're ready to take action?
I think, well, I don't think it's about a knowing. I really believe that taking action is something we're always doing. I mean, every breath is an action, right? So I think we just have to become conscious and aware of the actions that we're taking and begin to be a little more directed with them, to kind of propel ourselves or get ourselves into the mode of doing things that move us forward, and not that forward is necessary,
Mhm,
because what we really want is just a mindset of peace,
mhm.
and whatever that brings. There's so much disharmony in our world and division that peace, boy, is such a great asset. But yeah, we have to begin taking action toward whatever our goals are. And if you have a goal of peace, then you'll take action toward peace. How do I come into serenity? Maybe some mindfulness, maybe some work, concentrating on the present, doing some meditation, So there's so many actions that we can take toward whatever goal or plan that we set in place. And it's just really important. I talk about many different kinds of actions that can be taken, really because I see there being, we're all unique, and we're complex, and some of us, learn and grow in different ways. And so I want to give people the opportunity to find what works for them and use it to their success and abundance.
Wow. So, let's talk to people who are probably watching this. Yeah, I'm not part of the 1%. You may be. If you are, congrats. But what about if you're working for the man? And how do you get started? How do you get started on this goal of abundance and wealth? It's like, you're within a box, so to speak, or you have limitations. So talk to us folks. How do you do that?
Yeah. So first of all, everyone is going to watch this show, and
If you have anything to do with it, okay,
we've got to
deal.
change that mindset first, right?
All right, thank you much. Yes, yes.
and
Abundance, not scarcity. Yes.
That's right. And really, that is where it begins. It does not have to be a wealth mindset, but it definitely needs to be a growth mindset or a positive mindset.
Yeah.
It's, I think our first step is to take the step, to say, I'm going to move forward in my life and not backwards. I'm not going to go into the past. I'm not going to worry about what my parents may have done, or someone who may have broken my heart, or someone who may have betrayed me, or some unforgiveness that I'm holding on to. I'm going to take a step forward toward my happiness and my success. And so it's a mindset change that is kind of, I mention it as the X that marks the spot in the book. It's really where the treasure is, where we change from a scarcity mindset to a positive mindset, where we pick up something. If we're interested in something, let's learn more about it. Let's find people who are like-minded, who can, who will help us stretch our ideas, and In 12 steps, there's this concept that when you are ready to move on in your life, when you're ready, to let go of anything that is holding you back, you have to remove yourself or step out of the people, places, and things that are keeping you stuck in the place that you're at. So what we really want to do is just begin to have a positive mindset that what we're going to do is work toward our highest good, no matter what that is. And that means not clinging to things that are holding us back, anger, anxiety, limiting thoughts, error beliefs, or possessions. And we're not going to attach ourselves to people who are not lifting us up. And we have that from family members, to coworkers and colleagues. We just really need to change our environment, and an environment doesn't necessarily mean the people and places and things around us. It means the places that we just seem to gravitate toward and show up to. Some of these places just aren't working for us. And what really many people will find, I really feel like people will think, if I change my environment, I'm not going to have any fun. I'm going to miss out on something. So I'm going to miss something, and it really doesn't work that way. It is absolutely true that when one door closes, a window opens. It is an absolute truth that if you leave, if you seek to replace or release one thing, it will be replaced with a treasure far greater than you can imagine.
Yeah, and that's where faith comes in for
That's
sure,
where
because it's
that's
like you have to
for
believe
sure.
that. I keep seeing this thing on Facebook where it's like, okay, here's your comfort zone, and out here is where the really cool stuff happens, you know?
Yeah,
So you got
yeah,
to get out of it, and you
yeah.
got to have the faith to take that next step.
Sure.
Um, what prompted you? God knows we need it more than anything now. What prompted you to write this book now?
Hmm. Well, you know what? I saw. That's a great question. I just had the opportunity to see that there was a need for it at this time, and I get that from in my work in ministry. I have quite a few people come up to me with their challenges.
Mhm.
People are having challenges out here, especially with the environment where we're in right now, with inflation and different things like that. But people are trying to make ends meet, and they're wondering how can I make that happen. And and what's really important for me is to bring forth the understanding that um, if I tell you this is how you can make money, it's that old adage, if you tell a man how to fish, or teach him how to fish, right?
Yeah,
And so I really started getting into the idea of holistic wealth, like where are you feeling limited in your life? Where are you lacking? Some people are challenged with their relationships, and they've allowed that challenge to affect their ability to work or make money. So these things aren't it's not mutually exclusive. We have to really get into the whole idea, the wholeness, the well being of it all. And so I teach them. I teach at least my members that you have to get into the mindset, the habits, all of these different things, because it's going to be a more well rounded beginning for you. It's going to bring you into a more well rounded prosperity than to just seek money. If someone's just seeking money, and nothing else, to bring nothing else into their lives, not looking at how to walk a path of their own, how to find, some serenity inside, you'd say buy a lottery ticket. um but if someone really wants wealth and prosperity, it takes a little work, but if it's something that you're interested in, you'll love it, and it'll benefit you even more, and it becomes something that you can teach to others.
And it infiltrates other parts of your
Abs-
life, which is so,
Absolutely.
and we're back to the mindset, and there we go.
Yes.
We got like 3 minutes left, so I'm not gonna ask you about maps. I'm gonna tell you there are some maps in there to to sort of
Yes.
guide your path.
Yes.
Do tell us a little bit about your 1% challenge.
Oh, I love that's one of my favorites. So
I loved it too.
yeah, so the 1% challenge, it is an excellent device or technique for kind of measuring your growth and bringing you into a higher vibration. It's taking whatever you're doing, whatever you like, and just increasing it by 1%. If you're doing 10 push-ups one day, or you know, try to do one more the next day. If you're, reading 8 pages of a book, read nine. Just grow in incremental ways. Just 1% at a time. If you can just do one thing, 1% more. Take a little less sugar in your cereal, or add a little more protein to your diet. Just 1%. If you do that over time, you can see that it will benefit you. It will become an exponential thing, simply because time moves so fast for us.
Mhm.
It's flying, and by allowing ourselves to just grow 1% each day, imagine where you'd be a few years from now.
I'm sure you'd be where you thought you could never
Where,
be,
where
and
you
that's so
absolutely,
exciting.
yes, yes.
Okay, how do people get in touch with you? I mean, I know they can go to your church
Yes.
if they're in the mood for a field trip, but how else can they get in touch with you?
So you can find me at thewealthsparkbook.com. And if
And
you
look
come,
behind him because you'll see because we're saying wealth spark, like a little
yeah,
light.
Wealth
Okay, yeah.
Spark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there you'll find tools, strategies. We give away a free chapter, and
Oh,
affirmations. We give away 6 affirmation and visualization exercises. You'd also find a bunch of articles
oh,
and
I
different.
missed all that. I got the affirmation. I
Yes,
got
yeah,
the 50, but I didn't get all the other stuff.
oh
Okay.
no, there's more.
So
I'll
it's the
send it. I'll
wealth.
send it to you, Lori.
Thank you. But for everybody else, it's the
Dot
wealthsparkbook.com.
com. Yes.
Great, great. Okay. And all right. And you are there, and I'm sure your book
I'm
is
there.
there.
Yes, the
Okay.
book is there. You can contact me as well. And I'll get right back to you. I usually, somewhere within 24 hours, I return every message. So
Do
I'm
you do
happy to
you do
read.
one-on-one now, or are you just trying to reach many, many people?
I am doing one-on-one.
Oh,
I have
okay.
some stuff scheduled, and I continue to try to figure out how to bring this message to the masses. So yes,
Please continue. Reverend James C. Parker, your book is marvelous and so needed right now at this point. And if you want to find out more, and there's so much more in the book, believe it or not, we gave away 100 hints, but there's a lot
yes,
more in that book. So go to wealthsparkbook.com
yes,
and see what else you can get. Thank you so much
yes.
for being a guest on the Coaching Game.
Thank you for having me.
It
Thank
was
you.
total fun.
Yes.